Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Shah Bashem, Kodash. Shalom to the 144,000. And the rest of the elect out there. Excuse me. Forgive me for that. Anyway, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem, Shah Bashem, Kodash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. I'm going to entitle this video Colossians 2 verse 16. Means you don't have to keep all the laws. It wasn't required back then and even now not to keep all the laws. But when you grow in this thing, you begin to keep the laws. And there's certain laws that you got to keep if you come into this circle, let's say. Like, for example, laws unto death. You can't be in this truth and be a mo. You know, you come to the school, you teach, you read, but then you're a mo. Or you commit adultery. You know, and you say, well, we don't got to keep the laws. There's laws unto death. You know, Yahweh Shai didn't say anything about when you go into the Mosaic law, you're not supposed to lay with your mother, you know, your sister, your father's wife, or concubine, as in the case of Jacob and Reuben. And these are laws. These are laws under adultery and other laws, which are laws that you be put to death. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and I read it not too long ago. If you lay down with, matter of fact, it is the case. If you lay down with a woman and the woman's mother, the penalty for that is put to death. You cannot lay down with an Israelite woman and her sister. That's against the laws. Now, you might say, well, what about Leah and Rachel? Well, the laws wasn't established for that as of yet, because the Most High was putting together, keeping that family royal. Because Leah and Rachel, which was the daughters of Laban, he was from that line that goes back to Terah, which is the Laban. Laban would be the nephew of Abraham. You got Terah, the father. You got let me go back here. The brothers of Abraham in the Bible: Nahor, Haran, both sons of Terah, which are brothers to Abraham. He was the son of Terah, brother to Abraham. Nahor married Milcah, his niece, the daughter of his brother Haran. The family of Abraham, part 2, a dead brother and a barren or Lord. We just open this up. I'm not going to go all into the genealogies. I mean, I could have just went to the scriptures, straight to the scriptures. Right, Haran had died. Nahor had lived. Let me come on back. Nahor. Bear me for a minute, y'all. See, that royal line came through, not through Terah, the father of Abraham. This Nahor was the brother of Abraham in the Bible, both being sons of Terah and the sons of Nahor, grandfather who was the son of Sharag, the Genesis. The two men named Nahor. Nahor, son of Terah, is listed in Terah among two other brothers, Abram and Haran. His grandfather was Nahor. So the one that died was what does this say? What happened to Nahor in the Bible? Nahor's brother Abraham remained in his household in Haran in Mesopotamia. After his father Terah died, he married Milcah, the brother of his brother Haran. Remember, they kept the laws wasn't applied back then by marriage, while Abraham continued on his journey to Canaan, which is Palestine. Nahor stayed in the region and found the city of Nahor, establishing a lineage that maintained contact with Abraham's family. Let me do this. Nahor's sons, I got an Edomite, sons Nahor and his descendants. Concubines, they had concubines back there. Here we go. Born Suma, which is spouse Milcah, descendants Rebecca, Jacob, Laban, Esau, Bethuel, Rachel, Leah, see more. So they were all connected, including Esau. But Esau was not a part of that royal. The royal line went through Abraham. The key people were Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the account of Terah's family mentioned in the book of Genesis, Nahor The second is listed as the son of Terah among two other brothers, Abraham and Haran, which died. His grandfather was Nahor the first, son of Serug, which is the father of Terah. Nahor married the daughter of his brother Haran, Milcah, his niece. Let me go to Rebecca. Rebecca's father is Bethuel, Bayath Allah, house of God. Siblings, Laban, who had Leah and Rachel, right? So they were all close relatives. Now, after that, when the laws were established, royal people do that. You go into the history of these royals in Europe, they came out all deformed because you wasn't supposed to do that. It was allowed to be done back then. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So let's go right here. I gave you the title, right? Because these individuals right here, IUIC, they teach that you got to keep under all the laws, which they don't keep all the laws. You know, you can look at them. There's no phylacteries, there's no paddle, there's no weapon. They don't keep the Sabbath right. They say the new moon is the full moon. So when they keep their so-called high holy days, they're not keeping it lined up in line with the new moons, because their new moon is off. So I just wanted to hear you. I just want you to hear this individual. He goes by the name of Deacon Malachiah, and I believe he's sincere, but he just fucked up, and they got a spell over this guy. Because he's going to go into Galatians. Well, Galatians 3 goes into that too. I may even hit that precept. Colossians 2 verse 16. And watch how he breaks it down. And I'm going to throw a question out there. Because he said there's not going to be any animal sacrifices. Which Paul said. You know, he goes into Ezekiel. What is that, 45. Anyway, let's go ahead and deal with this.
Judge me if I want to eat pork, if I don't keep the Sabbath. You know?
Right, that's so-called Christian, Edomite, Jake, or whatever. They may go to Galatians 3, or they may go to Colossians 2, verse 16. There's many scriptures that they go to justify the fact that they can eat pork or whatever, shrimp. Which that's not what that's talking about. This conversation here, as Paul having with the Israelites of Colossae, I believe that's how you pronounce it. There were certain Jews that were dumping the whole law on them. That you got to keep all these laws perfectly in order to be, delivered from the Messiah. These are the same guys that believed in the Messiah, but they said you got to keep all the laws. That's also in Galatians. That's why Paul called them, "Oh, foolish Galatians, who bewitched you, who put a spell on you to believe that you had to keep all the laws perfectly." Because you can't. We're not set up that way. So let's listen.
A Christian going to read that scripture and try justifying breaking God laws, but it's not talking about that. Okay, read it again.
Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink.
The Apostle Paul is talking to Israelites in Colossae, which is near to Laodicea, which is north of Palestine, Jerusalem.
Drink, or in respect of an holy day.
What it mean by meat and drink? Go to Isaiah 4, is it Ezekiel 45 and 17? Get that and read that. The meat and drink. Well, let's see what it's talking about. Is it talking about eating pork? Is it talking about eating iguanas? You know?
Ezekiel chapter 45 and verse 17.
Come on!
And it shall be the prince's part to give burnt offerings.
To give what?
Burnt offerings.
To give burnt offerings. Read
And
on.
meat offerings.
And meat offerings.
And drink offerings.
And drink offerings. So it's talking about offerings. Keep on reading.
In the feast.
In what?
In the feast.
Read on.
And in the new moon.
And in the new moons.
And in the Sabbaths.
And in the Sabbaths. So you all understand? You dumb Christians out there, man. Go back to Colossians and read that again.
Yes, sir. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 16.
Come
Let
on.
no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink.
So nobody could judge you if you don't do drink offerings or meat offerings. Read on.
Or in respect of an holy day.
If you don't do it, drink offerings and meat offerings.
No, that's talking about those high holy days, period. Whether they're offerings or not. Like the Sabbath. Don't let nobody put this thing about the Sabbath. Because they were just coming into the truth. They came out of a world. They came out of that heathenistic world coming into this truth. So the Apostle Paul said, I can't dump these laws on these people. They were all messed up. But there were certain laws unto death, like adultery. The blood, draining the blood out of an animal, because you eat animal with blood in it, you get the animals contaminated or sick or dies of itself. You don't know about it, you get sick through the blood. So you got to go back to Acts 15.
On the holidays. Read on.
Or of the new moon.
If you don't do it on the new moon, meat offering and drink offering. Read on.
Or of the Sabbath days.
Read on.
Which are a shadow of...
He's not talking about he mentioned as offerings. He's covering everything. He's covering the Sabbath, the new moons, the high holy days, the offerings, which goes back to the Mosaic law. He said you don't got to keep all of those. And that fits all of us. When we all come into the truth, you don't keep all of them. They don't say, okay, here's a list of the laws, memorize them, keep them. No. As you grow into this thing, you begin to keep certain laws. You know, when you come into this truth, you come into a class, you see a beautiful woman, you talk to the woman, you realize that the woman has a brother, and you go ahead and pop him. No, you can't do that. That's a law unto death. That's why the Apostle Paul condemned this man in Corinth for laying with his father's wife. That's in 1 Corinthians chapter 5. And the Most High, Paul cursed his ass out and said, matter of fact, let's go to that. Let's go to that. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. I want to go into the history of, okay. You know what these kings of Europe used to do? They used to inbreed to keep the kingdom in force. They used to inbreed. Guy would lay down with his sister or his niece or his cousin or whatever. Well, there's no law against you laying with your niece. But I wouldn't do nothing like that. So, okay, what did I say I was going to go? Oh, right, 1 Corinthians 5. This is why you should never have women come to the classes. If you have a class, women shouldn't be in the class. Just like a gym. I would never go into no damn gym. I got a gym in my house. because you got women 304s all up in the gym. They're all in tip-top shape. They got the six-pack. They don't really need to work out, but they go there to get men, to jump from man to man. They're harlots, gym harlots, gym thoughts. They'll wear the tight pants, and if they like a dude, they'll work. If he's at the bench station benching, she's gonna be right there with him, and then they're gonna talk, and then she's gonna get with the dude, or the dude gonna get with her. And they gonna get together for about a month. Shit ain't gonna work out. Guess what? She coming right back to the gym looking for the next dude. And the Edomite women do that. Jake women, especially Jake, them Latin tribes. That place is a harlot house. The gym is a harlot house. Now years ago, there was at least one gym. It was on TV commercials. The first gym for women only. That mother went out of business a long time ago because women don't want to go to a gym with nothing but women in there. They want to go to the gym with men in there so they can get men. Like they said, I don't want to be bothered by a man. But why do you go to a man's gym? Open up a business. If you open up a business or a gym just for women, that ain't going to, like I said, it was the first gym made for women only. That motherfucker went out of business. Because they don't know what the fuck they want. These dumb hoes. That's why they get surgery. They get surgery, right? Then they don't they want to get more enhanced. Then the surgery reverses itself. Then they look all fucked up. Like these BBLs. Ain't no Jake man. I don't know about Esau, but ain't no Jake man want a woman with a BBL. I'm the last bitch. Do you have a BBL? I don't want to. If you got a BBL, don't come around me. If you got a BBL, you can go to hell. No man wants no BBL. You heard all the horror stories about BBLs, and that women are into themselves. They want to enhance themselves. Their only power is beauty, the body and the face. And they become rich. They get with some nigga in the back. Hey, they're at the NBA draft, right? They're there, And you got some guys, they got high school sweethearts, and they stay together, they have kids, they live happily ever after, then they get divorced later on. But you got these hoes out there trying to get with these brothers that came out of college. They don't know what's going on. Look good as hell. He falls in love with this woman. Then some years later, she might have a kid or two with him. And then all of a sudden, he's abusive. He slapped me. He called me a bitch. You want to lock him up? No, I just want to sue him. That's why your father, not your mother and your father, but your father gave away his daughter to the man that he wanted to give, and she had no choice in the matter. If the law of adultery, the teeth of the law of adultery, which is the adultery, you get put to death, there'll be no flesh to save. There wouldn't be no Jakes, wouldn't be hardly anybody. Jake is just wicked as these women are fucking wicked. The king is wicked. That's what Zerubbabel said. Said women are wicked, the king is wicked. It says that short story should be read. And they're all wicked, man. And through her we all die. That's in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus. She's the beginning of sin, and I believe she's the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. And through her we all die. Matter of fact, let me go to that real quick. I'm sorry, let me do it this way. And these women, they don't want this kingdom to end. We want this kingdom to end. We want this place to be destroyed. Utterly destroyed. It's either 25 or 26. I hadn't gone through it in a while. I'll find it quick. Here we go. And you can really read this whole chapter. Okay, it says, damn. Okay, let me see. All wickedness is but little. Damn, I got to. Her husband shall sit among the neighbors. She has. Damn, you got to read the whole chapter, really. Okay, let me start at the 19th verse. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. These jakes in the NBA, the NFL, the AFC, the drafts, these boxers, world champion boxers. What comes with that money is hoes. I'm not gonna tell you. I know a couple of guys that were former world champions. They used to tell me stories how when they win a big fight or they lose a fight, they'll get a purse of $1 million or $500,000. You get it that night, you cash it, you go to a ritzy hotel, and it will be and them high class hoes would know who you are. Oh, you're so and so. I'm not gonna mention their names. And they would charge. They might say that's $5,000 a night, but you can do whatever the fuck you want to these women. And all night long, whatever the amount was at that time. And sometimes you fall in love with them and marry them and shit. Now that's the same thing that happens in the NBA draft, the NFL draft, the AFC draft. These guys coming out of college, these guys are the 18, 19. Well, let me see, in their 20s, 20, 22, whatever. Because we're talking 18. Let's see, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. Yeah, 20, 21, 22. They get drafted. The family's there. And you got some fine-ass woman rubbing up on this dude because she knows that he gonna be a multi. Well, if he's first pick, second pick or whatever, he's they kept up. Them hoes keep up with the March Madness and these college players, man. And they know they got all the stats. This happened with this guy. What's this guy with the Mexican chick with the big nose? She done played this dude, and people was telling them she was a hoe. But you got Jake is just stupid, man. And most Jakes out there, they retire with over 100 million and they go broke inside of 2 years working at Wendy's or something. Because they stupid. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. As the climbing up of a sandy way is to the feet of the age, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. That's torture. And the so-called black woman wonders why nobody want to deal with her. She's got a loud mouth, a bad attitude. So men said, fuck it, I don't deal. Anytime I see a so-called black woman, it's, nah, I ain't dealing with her. It says, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure, for sex. And a lot of these dudes in NBA, NFL, AFC, and other sports, your soccer, around the world, they'll, like a lot of these jakes, they'll get Edomite women, and guess what? The Edomite woman grow old with him, have children, she's happy. And then you got our woman that's mad because this brother is getting with a white woman, but you know what? He already knows what the future is with you. What you're going to ruin his fucking life. These Edomite women, you got the high school sweetheart thing with the Edomite woman with a Jake dude. He's a high school player. And when you don't know where he going to go, but he might go somewhere and she'll stick with the dude. And the nigga woman she wants a man already made. She want to get this nigga at the draft. When he goes from being broke to being a multi-goddamn millionaire. LeBron James, when he signed, he had a $10 million deal right out of high school. $10 million deal. My brother can tell you, he can write a book on LeBron James, because my brother he played ball, so he keeps up with them stats. But his deal, but before he played his first pro game, he was worth $100 million. He got a $10 million for a signing. But he signed with Cleveland first, and then he got a $90 million deal with Nike. So this dude is a billionaire. That's why he keeps playing. He don't got to play no more. He's been set for life. Hell, he could have played a couple of seasons and been set for life. You know. So his before he played his first pro NBA game, he was 100. He became 100. 1 second he didn't have nothing to having $100 million in the bank. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. A woman, if she maintain her husband, control her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. You got niggas that live off a woman, but then you got women that just got control over the men. You know, you got a woman that you live with. You got to do things for her. She got to do things for you. It's a two-way street, right? A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh a heavy countenance, depressed, and a wounded heart. You find out that she messing with somebody in the league, you know, and like LeBron James' mother was messing with dudes in the fucking league. What's the dude that went crazy, bugged out of his mind? That shit is embarrassing. There you go, the black woman. She's a fucking embarrassment, man. That's why Jake does the the passport bro thing. They don't want to have nothing to do with you sisters, and they're not gonna. There's nothing that you can do to bring them back. There's nothing that you can do to bring them back. You have a stigma on you. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. So she ain't really for you. She don't love you, man. I see why Paul said it's best not to have a woman. And that's the difference between a beta male, a alpha male, a beta male, and a sigma male. You want to be a sigma male. You want to be a beta male. Be a sigma alpha male. You want to be a sigma male. Sigma male. If he don't got a girl, he fine. He fine with that. If you get a girl, you get with her. You know. It said that the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. A girl, we're going on a girl trip to Jamaica. If you let your woman do that, guarantee you she getting bent over. Why would you have a woman? Go for a woman. Have a couple of women on the side. Go. Don't have no one woman, man. In the kingdom, we're not gonna have no one woman. You got Nate talking about, oh, you can only have one woman. It's wicked if you got more than one woman. It's he calls it adultery. How stupid is that? So in the kingdom of heaven, you're gonna have thousands of women. So is that adultery? How is it not a law? It's against the law on this side, but it's lawful on the other side. What sense does that make? If she go not as thou wouldst have her, cut her off from thy flesh and give her a bill of divorce and let her go. That's straight to the point. Okay, so now let's go. Where am I? Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go over here. Okay, it is reported commonly that there is fornication among you. In other words, it was rampant. And such fornication or adultery as is not so much as named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife. That's adultery. So the Apostle Paul cursed this dude out and condemned him. And ye are puffed up, have not rather mourned, that he that have done this deed might be taken away from among you, killed. Most High, take this nigga out. That's why these Christians say, oh, the people of Corinth were not Israelites. No, they were Israelites, but they were not raised. They were raised up. They were Hellenized. Look that word up if you don't know what it means, or ask somebody. It says, "For I verily, as absent in the body, but present in spirit," meaning he's hearing these reports. Because these letters, epistles mean letters, right? So he's hearing these reports, so you got to straighten them out. If he can't make it there, he has to do it in the form of a letter. Ephesians is an epistle. Colossians is an epistle. And there was times where he went in the present. Now we got the YouTube. So anything that happens, we brought forth judgment against guys over the YouTube. Maybe even over the telephone, have judged already as though I were present. So he wasn't even there, and he judged the matter concerning him that hath so done this deed. In the name of our Lord Kairis Yahushai HaMashiach, when ye are gathered together, and my spirit, with the power of Kairis Yahushai HaMashiach, to deliver such an one unto Satan. So this guy's got to be delivered to Satan, and the woman too, for the destruction of the flesh. What does that mean? May Satan destroy this guy, that the spirit, his spirit, may be saved in the day of the Lord Yahushua. That's reincarnation right there, y'all. That's reincarnation right there. Paul is saying, let's look at that in the NLT. Might even go into the Amplified. 5th verse. Then you must throw this man out and hand him over to Satan, so that his sinful nature will be destroyed, that he will be destroyed, and he himself will be saved on the day the Lord returns. Now Christians will say, oh yeah, he's going to come back in reincarnation, or he could be in the grave. Right? That's reincarnation. Let's go to the Amplified. Amplified. 5th verse. You are to hand over this man to Satan for the destruction of his body. The destruction of his body is death. Now he can come back. He can come back in reincarnation. If you die because you're wicked, guess what? You come back in a new body. So when you come back, the next body, maybe you get it right, so that his spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord Yahushua, proving that he's an Israelite. Because all Israelites are going to come back in the kingdom, whether they get delivered in these ships or they come back through the elect. Nobody's going to burn in hell. So that's all I got to read. Okay, so now let's come on back to, where am I? Okay, so the deacon said, matter of fact, let me go back over there. Let me bring it back again.
I went into it in depth. Those of y'all that didn't see that lesson, y'all go back and look at it last year. You know what I mean? So I try to take things to other level when it comes to, you know what I mean, these lessons. Every time I teach, the Lord be showing me, what were they judging them about? What were they saying to them? They was telling them, I went into it in depth. Those of y'all that didn't see that lesson, y'all go back and look at it last year. You know what I mean? So I try to take things to other level when it come to, we take it to next. So you all pay attention, Colossians 2:16, and then let me get Psalms 119 and 18.
The book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 16.
Let's go.
Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day.
So, number one, first and foremost, who was judging who here? The Pharisees. The Pharisees was judging the believers on Christ, the believers of Christ. Okay.
No, you had Israelites that were priests and Pharisees and Sadducees that believed in the Messiah, but they were still pushing the law. Go to Acts 15:1. Read down.
What were they judging them about?
The ones that came up under the Messiah, they said this is the Messiah. And they were in David's seats. They were priests. That's Acts 6. They tell you that they were priests that believed in the Lord. So even though they believed in the Lord, he's the Messiah that was forth to come, they said you still got to keep all the laws. No, you don't got to keep all the laws. As you grow in this thing, you start to keep the laws. You say, I'm going to keep the Sabbath. I'm going to keep this day. I'm going to keep that day. And there was major laws that you couldn't break was adultery and murder and there's laws unto death. Sabbath was a law unto death, but Paul said you don't got to worry about that. Just learn about Yahushua. And it's a growing thing. Peter spoke about growing.
What were they saying to them? They was telling them that they're supposed to do sacrifices on the new moon. They're supposed to do sacrifices.
That's a part of it, but it's talking about laws in general, not just talking about the sacrifices. You guys went off on that. Galatians 3, the first 3 verses, when it goes into the law, he calls them foolish Galatians. How you gonna get spiritually close with the Most High by keeping laws? He said it's through the Spirit. So they went off on that. The Colossians 2 verse 16 is not talking about animal sacrifices.
Sacrifices on the Sabbath, and they're supposed to do sacrifices on the feast days.
No, it's talking about the Sabbath. You don't got to make a big deal about the Sabbath. Oh, circumcision. Go back to Acts again. Circumcision. Timothy was forced to circumcise himself for the Jews because they kept saying, well, why isn't he circumcised? And what was it? Titus did not want to be circumcised, so he wasn't circumcised. Acts 15 again. You can't go in the kingdom unless, I believe, it was laws, but they were dealing with the circumcision. The key point was the circumcision. You're not going to make it in the kingdom if you're not circumcised, which is a shadow of things to come. So the conclusion was, Peter said, no, you don't got to be circumcised. But there's certain, like blood and animals. He didn't mention adultery, but adultery is in there too. Because Peter's not going to say, yeah, you can commit adultery every once in a while. No.
Y'all understand? Why that is important? Because a Christian going to read this and say, you can't judge me if I want to eat pork, if I don't keep the Sabbath. A Christian going to read that scripture and...
Right, and that don't apply to them anyway. It applies to the Israelites that was raised up, Hellenized, following heathen customs, and coming into the truth of the Messiah.
Try justifying breaking God's laws.
So, like I said, I'm saying it again. It sounds like an echo, but you had certain of them that believed. They said, you got to keep all the laws. You got to keep the new moon. You got to keep the Sabbath. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to sacrifice. Because they were still sacrificing even to that time. They were still sacrificing.
But it's not talking about that. Okay, read it again.
We don't got to do the sacrifice now because Yahushua was that Hebrews 9 verse 27. He died once. It is appointed once for a man to die. Christians use that to say men in general. Once for a man to die was talking about Yahushua dying once. Not dying every generation. Oh, got to come back, the new generation. No. Read it again.
Again?
Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an holy day.
What it mean by meat and drink? Go to Isaiah 4, is it Ezekiel 45 and 17. Get that and read that. The meat and drink. We'll see what it's talking about.
That's a good precept, but that doesn't go with that. It's talking about the laws in general. And he keeps saying, oh, that's just talking about sacrificing an animal, but keep all the rest. No, they ain't talking about that. Go to Galatians 3 again.
Is it talking about eating pork? Is it talking about eating iguanas? You know?
Ezekiel chapter 45 and verse 17. Come on! And it shall be the prince's part to give burnt offerings.
To give what?
Burnt offerings.
To give burnt offerings.
And meat offerings.
And meat offerings.
And drink offerings.
And drink offerings. So it's talking about offerings.
Not talking about offerings. It's talking about the laws. It's talking about the laws. Not talking about just offerings.
Keep on reading.
In the feast.
In what?
In the feast.
Read on.
And in the new moons.
And in the new moons.
And in the Sabbaths.
And in the Sabbaths. So you all understand? You dumb Christians out there, man. Go back to Colossians and read that again.
Yes, sir. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink.
So nobody could judge you.
Now you can decide not to eat meat. That's in Romans chapter 14, if I'm not mistaken. One man desires meat, the other man herbs. Matter of fact, I should go to that. King James. Romans 14, if I'm not mistaken. Romans 14. We're perfecting the saints. The apostles and the prophets and the teachers are perfecting the saints through these video epistles. Okay, I'm sorry. Principles of conscience. Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations. For one believeth that he may eat all things, meaning what? Meats and other things. Not now, Christian can use that to say that means you can eat pork. That's why, like I said, GMS does not deal with Christians. If we know you're a Christian, we don't want to talk to you. We don't want you around. We don't want to breathe the same air that you breathe. But if you say, I'm a Christian, but I want to learn. So I'm going to be sincere. Then we're going to teach you. And then if you want to be elect, you're going to throw that Christian nonsense out and you're going to become an Israelite. But if you come in, I'm a Christian, I'm going to show you guys that you're right. I said, look, brother, you got 50,000? Because my time is worth money. Okay? And you just trying to get clout. Hey, Vocab and them, God Logic is a fucking clown. I hope he hears this too. He's a fucking clown. This guy did a video where he's crying because Charlie Kirk got he's a Christian. That dude ain't no he's a what do you call it, a secular Christian. You know, he's about as much Christian as a hitman that's a Roman Catholic. That's what kind of Christian he is. He's actually crying. Now there's a genocide in Nigeria of Muslim Jakes killing Christian Jakes, killing their babies and all that. You ain't crying about that, but you gonna cry. This nigga gonna ball up and cry about what's his name, Charlie Kirk. They're trying to make Charlie Kirk a damn saint. And the Edomites are so mad they want to kill black people. Now, you Negroes, you niggas, the Negro. The reason why this white boy, little skinny ass white boy, shot this guy is because you Negro. We're gonna get you Negroes. They had to close down the HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, They had to lock them down. Go to the matter of fact, you know what? There's so many things going on. Let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. Let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. I know I'm saying a lot of different things, going a lot of different directions. HBCUs being locked down. Give me a second here. HBCUs being locked down. Let me hit that again. Multiple HBCUs, which stands for historical black colleges and universities, under lockdown after receiving terroristic threats. Who's bringing these terroristic threats? These right wingers. So they're saying that's terrorism. Where's Trump? We got to get these. He don't give a fuck. Let's go. Multiple HBCUs under lockdown after receiving terroristic threats. This was put up yesterday. Charlie Kirk death spurs threats, which makes you a terrorist, and lockdowns across the country of HBCUs. What actions did Virginia State University take during lockdown? How did the HBCU lockdowns impact academic? So now, wait a minute. Where the federal troops among Esau? Because they're looking to kill black people. Where's Trump on that? Multiple historic black colleges and universities, or HBCUs, have gone into lockdown after threats were directed at the campus, school officials announced. Alabama State University, Hampton University, Virginia State University, Southern University, and A&M, and Bethune-Cookman. These are black colleges, universities, locked down the morning of Thursday, September 11th. Each city citing potential threats made against the campuses, terroristic threats. The lockdown at Southern University was later lifted, but all campus activities and classes were canceled through the weekend, school officials announced. But why? Why? Spelman, which is HBCU college in Atlanta, also asked students and faculty to avoid campus. They're not telling you why. Who is it? Did Osama bin Laden come back from the dead? He getting black people now? And see how the news is biased? Give me a second. Let me go into it more. White people want to kill black people in churches. There was no black people, so-called black people at the Ohio State. The white boy shot him. They said they caught him. But we're gonna get you niggas now, cause this is your fault. This is a bugged out world, man. But whoever's saying that, that's terrorism. So where's Trump at? When's Trump gonna send in the troops? Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's come on back. I'm all over the place. But a lot of things are happening. Because he don't give a damn about Jake. He don't give a fuck about Jake. The hell? Okay, I'm sorry. Let's come over here.
if you don't do drink offerings or meat offerings. Read on.
Or in respect of an holy day.
If you don't do it, drink offerings and meat offerings on the holidays. Read on.
Or of
The day of atonement, you don't drink or you eat. That's talking about law. The majority of the laws, we're not going to put a burden on you to keep the laws. Even Peter said that they put the laws on us, put it like a yoke. That's in Acts 15.
the new moon.
If you don't do it on the new moon, meat offering and drink offering. Read on.
Or of the Sabbath day.
Read on.
He's saying you don't got to worry about keeping the new moons, the Sabbath days. And I'm going to show you that because he's saying that that's talking about sacrifice. So in the kingdom of heaven, I'm asking Deacon Malachi, in the kingdom of heaven, are we going to go back to keeping animal sacrifices? That's the question. Are we going back to keeping animal? Paul is saying, well, we don't got to do animal sacrifices now, but in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to have to do animal sacrifices like we did back then. When you have the Passover, you kill a lamb. That's part of the ceremony, which is a sacrifice. You are sacrificing that lamb. It's symbolic of Yahweh Shai, right? But if you commit any sin, you're going to have to sacrifice a turtle dove, a bullock, or whatever. Right? You have certain animals you sacrifice, others you don't. So as you read down in Colossians 2:16 on down, he said that's talking about only talking about animal sacrifices. Well, in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to keep all of them. No, we're not. We don't need animal sacrifices. Sacrifice for sin. Number one, we're not going to sin. Sacrifices were for forgiveness of our sins. Sin sacrifice. So they don't understand the scriptures. As you read a couple of verses down, it's going to tell you that these laws that we're not putting a burden on you, you're going to keep them in the kingdom. I'm not talking about animal sacrifices. It's talking about you don't got to. I keep sounding like a broken record, but I got to break. Because what did you just say, brother? I say it 2 times so you can get it.
Which are a shadow of things to come.
All them offerings, meat offerings and stuff that we were doing, it was a shadow of things to come. Y'all understand?
So what does that mean by those sacrifices that we were keeping is a shadow of things to come? Meaning what? When we're in the kingdom, we're going to keep all of them. No. When we're in the kingdom, we're going to keep all the laws. We don't got to keep these sacrifices, sin sacrifices and so forth, because we're not going to sin. So he just cut himself. What do you think it means as a shadow of things to come? Let me do this. Now let me let it keep going.
Read on.
But the body is of Christ.
So all them meat offerings and all of that represented Christ. Okay? All them things we were doing under the old covenant, it represented Christ.
But it said, Paul said, which is a shadow of things to come. Meaning we're gonna do it. You don't gotta do it now, but in the kingdom we're gonna do it perfectly. What do you mean by that? He meant the laws.
It was a shadow of things to come.
Things to come is the future, the kingdom.
What does that mean when it says it is a shadow of things to come? Like if you see me here and you see my shadow there, I'm the real thing. The shadow is not the real thing. Y'all understand? So all them things we were doing under the old covenant, it is a shadow of something real. Guess what?
No. It didn't say that. It said you're putting words in the scriptures. It says a shadow of things to come. A shadow of things to come. Meaning in the kingdom we're gonna keep all the laws. Timothy got circumcised because of the pressure from the Jews. Titus did not get circumcised. But in the kingdom, he's going to have to get circumcised.
What is also a shadow of something real? Memorial of blowing of the trumpets. You understand? Okay. Memorial of blowing of the trumpets is a shadow of something else real. The Sabbath.
He's not breaking it down right. Anyway, we don't got to watch no more. But you see how these guys be going off. So let's go to Colossians. Give me a second here. Now, what the hell happened? Did these things disappear? Okay, let me do it this way. Okay, I done marked them down, but I didn't. Yeah. Okay, you are built up in the Messiah. For I would the great conflict in you, the hearts of the comfort, and knitted together, in whom are hid the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. Right, in whom are hid all the treasures, hid all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. That's why you got certain camps that can't see the mark of the beast being the microchip, because it was hid from them to see it. They open their eyes, they read it. I read it 500 times, Revelation 13 and 16, and I can't see it with GMS. GMS is obviously going off. No, you can't see it because the Most High didn't open your eyes to see it. Eyes have they but see not, ears have they but hear not, unto this very day. In whom are hid all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. Now, Paul said that in Colossians 1. You can start at 19th verse. The key point is in the 26th verse. We start from the 19th verse. So this is why the wicked scribes and Pharisees could not see that he was the Messiah. And this I say, lest any man should beguile you with enticing words. And that's what I'm just dealing with. IUIC, I can talk about all them other camps. They're enticing you. They're using a lot of fancy words and a lot of gimmicks to make you believe they gotta have the truth. Look at how ordered they are. Farrakhan and the Muslims are in order. They all wear the same. You know, that's not a prerequisite for having the truth. It's just gimmicks. The Lord gotta be dealing with them. Look at how neat they are. For though I be absent from the flesh, this is Paul speaking, yet am I with you in the spirit. In other words, he's writing a letter, epistle. So now we don't got to go to different places. We can talk over the YouTube, over the phone, right? Drawing and beholding your order and the steadfastness of your faith in the Messiah. So I can watch, let's say, GMS Chicago. On Sundays, they'll get together and they'll do something. During the week, too. But on Sundays, they'll get together and they'll do something. And I subscribe to them so I get the notification. So I'll click on them and listen, you know. So I'm beholding them and they're able to behold me, or watch whoever. It says, as ye have, they could bring out a precept. Oh, yeah, that's a good precept. I haven't brought that out in 10 years. I'm going to start using that again. As ye have therefore received the Messiah, Yahushai, Kairis, so walk ye in him, rooted and built up in him, and established in the faith. What does that mean? You come in this thing for 3 weeks, you don't know the scriptures. You're supposed to know some scriptures, but if you're in this thing for X amount of years, you're supposed to be rooted. So there's a lot of guys that came into this thing that was in this thing for years and fell off. They were never rooted. As ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. Philosophy and vain deceit is when like somebody says, oh, you can only have one woman. Hell is the actual place that you're going to burn in. That's a scare tactic. Beware, let me read it again. 8th verse. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy old wives' tales, cunningly devised fables. Hell is a cunningly devised fable to scare the masses, and vain deceit after the tradition of men. After the rudiments of the world, there's the secular world, and not after the Messiah. So if you in the IUIC, for example, and they find out that you got a woman on the side, they're gonna kick you out. They either charge you with adultery. That's not adultery, first of all. Now this thing with Ethan, Deacon Ethan, I believe he messed with a chick on the side of his woman that didn't have a man, or maybe did, and they deemed it as being adultery. I don't know the full story. He's not going to tell me the full story. Now, if he laid with a woman in the congregation that's married to a man, and he only gets a year off, I don't believe he committed adultery. But you know what? He listened to the counsel so he can continue to wear the purple and the gold. And I really don't care. But like I said, these guys will tell you, oh, you got a woman, you married, and you got a little chick on the side. That's adultery. No. What you're calling him an adulterer is wickedness, man. For in him dwelleth the fullness of the Godhead bodily. I'm sorry. Let me come on down here. There's a lot to read, man. And you are complete in him, which is the head of all principalities and powers under Yahweh, in whom also ye are circumcised with the circumcision made without hand. That's a spiritual circumcision. You got guys that get circumcised, but they're not circumcised in the heart. That's why they fall off. And putting off the body of the sin of the flesh by the circumcision of Yahushai. That's the real circumcision. Buried with him in baptism, wherein also ye are risen with him through the faith of the operation of the Most High, who hath raised him from the dead. Who raised him from the dead? The Father. And you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh. Why were they uncircumcised if they were Israelites? Because they were raised up being Hellenized. Corinth is part of that Greek rulership. They got caught up in that thing with Antiochus Epiphanes, and that's what Judas and Maccabees and his army was fighting against. Because they were saying, don't circumcise your children. What is that? Second Maccabees 2 verse 6. You can start at 1. Somebody go, I'm not going to go to it. But they said, you can't sacrifice your kids. You got to teach your children, your sons and your daughters, that they're Greeks. You got to raise them up to be Olympians. You got to eat pork. And if you don't do all these things, we're going to put you to death. So, Judas Maccabee said, nah, you can put me to death. I ain't doing that shit. The woman with the 7 sons. Great woman in Israel, man. They were tortured for not eating pork. The old man, they said, you don't got to eat pork. Just eat a clean meat and salt. Tell them that you're eating pork so they can start eating pork. He said, nah. I believe they put him to death. They put him to death too. So you had men back there with integrity. That's why we don't give a good goddamn about these jakes that come up, fight up against us, man. Like I said, this God Logic crying. He's talking about Charlie Kirk being shot, and this guy starts crying, man. I don't want to have nothing to do with any of you Christians, period. If you're a Christian, keep walking. Keep walking. And you come at us because you need us. We don't need you. If Vocab and them started teaching that Christian garbage that they were teaching, they wouldn't get no views. They got to have Israel in the title. Bold Christians go head to head with Israel, and Israelites run. And you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcised of your flesh, because they were Hellenized, hath he quickened, brought back to life, together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses, blotting out the handwriting of ordinance that was past tense against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross. So if you committed adultery, if you was a mole, if you do any of these things, you were forgiven for that. And you're starting with a clean slate. But on top of that, the Apostle Paul said you don't got to keep all the laws, but there's certain laws you do have to keep. There's a certain order. That's why the scriptures speak about growing thereby. You grow in this thing. And having spoiled principalities and powers, and made a show of them openly, triumphed over them in it. So who having spoiled who spoiled principalities and powers? Yahweh Shai. That's why he said it is done. Remember, did not the veil and the Holy of Holies, did not the veil rip in half? Rip asunder? What did that represent? That it's open. You had to go to get blessings to a Levite or the head Levite, the high priest that the high priest that year, the high priest. So now we're all high priests. 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of an high holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath day. It's not talking about animal sacrifices. It's talking about animal sacrifices and the law. Don't let no man dump all the laws on you. Oh, you got to start keeping this law, keeping all these. You better study the law tonight and tomorrow. You better keep every last law. Because IUIC is not keeping every last law. If the Spirit was dealing with them, they would know that the Sabbath comes in based upon the new moon. The divine calendar is in the heavens. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Bruce Lee was trying to tell you something. The calendar is up in space. It's not no calendar from 7-Eleven. Oh, Friday night is the Sabbath. The Sabbath coming on a Friday night to Saturday night if the new moon falls in on a Friday night. Another thing, you guys say the new moon is a full moon. You started saying that through in November of 2016. Because when we first heard about it, we did all kind of videos condemning that. And there was a handful of y'all that left because of that thing. Well, he's wrong to this very day. If Yahweh Shai had a backbone, he would say, nah, you going off. So Yahweh Shai is a follower, just using Yahweh Shai. I believe Yahweh Shai is a sincere man, but he's under a spell. Deacon Malachi, you under a spell. You know that the mark of the beast is a chip, but you would never say that in front of Big Brother Almighty. That's from school days. Big Brother Almighty. Let no man therefore judge you in meats or in drinks or in respect of a holy day or of the new moons or of the Sabbath days. The new moon and the Sabbath days is also the Day of Atonement, which you don't eat or you drink not that day. So it's not just talking about animal sacrifices. It's talking about the laws, the 600 plus laws that was dumped on you. That's what it's talking about. But you can't, certain laws unto death you cannot keep. You be put to death. What I started off with, 1 Corinthians chapter 5, about the brother that committed adultery with his father's wife. Paul said, may the Most High kill you. No, may Satan kill you. So when you come back in reincarnation, you'll come back right. Right? That's reincarnation right there. Which are a shadow of things to come. What is that talking about? What's a shadow of things to come? All the high holy days, all the laws. Which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Yahweh Shai. Let no man beguile you of your reward and the voluntary humility and worshiping of angels. Now, Ariel was guilty of that. He was praying to Michael, Gabriel, Raphael. No, there's nowhere in the scripture where it says that. When you put the prayers up, it's to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So, Ariel, we don't know if he's in the spiritual realm. We don't know nothing too much of anything. We do know that High Priest Ariel, High Priest Shaw ain't running nothing. Them young dudes are running something. And I guess you got a certain hidden group that's telling them what to do to keep it going. Intruding into those things which he have not seen, vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind. So Ariel was vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind. If you told Ariel he was going off, he may get an attitude about it. And I showed him things that he was going off on, and he didn't get an attitude out. He looked at it and he said, you know what, you're right. 19, let's see how much more we got to read. And not holding the head, from which all the body by joints and bands, we represent the body parts, having nourishment ministered and knit together, increase. Knit together meaning that you all speak the same thing. Ephesians 4 and 11 on down, that you come into the perfection, right? Through the apostles, the prophets, the teachers, with the increase of the Most High. Wherefore, if ye be dead with Yahweh Shai from the rudiments of the world, why, as though living in the world, are ye subject to ordinances? Ordinances not just talking about animal sacrifice. It's talking about all the laws. Touch not, taste not, handle not, which all are to perish with the using after the commandments and doctrines of men. The scribes and the Pharisees kept pushing the law. When they asked Yahweh Shai, Matthew 23, this is what they say. What did Yahweh Shai say? Yeah, go ahead and keep it. But don't do what they do, because they'll tell you to keep it. They ain't going to keep it. Yeah, but you can keep them laws. Go and sin no more. Who was he talking to? He was talking to the Israelites that knew that they were Israelites. The people of Colossus and the people of Corinth were Israelites that was raised up as heathens. That's why when you come across the word Gentiles, Greeks, and heathens being saved in the New Testament, it's clearly talking about Israelites. Okay, and I'm going to close after this, 23rd verse, which things have indeed a show of wisdom in all worship and humility and neglecting of the body, not in any honor to the satisfying of the flesh. Like I said, I'm not going to go into Galatians, but Acts 15, read that whole chapter. Galatians 3, that's another one. Colossians 1 and 2. So they going off. Anyway, with that, shalom, on to the next shalom.